Andrew Carruthers here, Education Director for Samvia. We're going to do a little series for you guys all about foundational information for hairdressing. And the three elements that we consider to be most important when you're cutting hair are elevation, over direction, and finger angle. We already have our video out for elevation, so we're going to go to the next piece now, which is over direction. It's our next movement of hair. So elevation we talked about was a movement up and down within the haircut. Now this is our movement side to side or front to back. We're going to take the hair and we're going to either over direct it forward, we're not going to over direct it at all, or we're going to over direct it back. Those are the three different ways you can move the hair, and that's going to give you different results. Just like elevation, this movement creates weight and length in different directions. So that's what's really key and important. So again, with elevation, we talked about that as controlling the up and down, the vertical aspect of your silhouette. So over direction is going to control the opposite. It's going to control this side to side or front to back aspect of your silhouette. So by taking the hair and over directing it in a certain direction, it's going to create weight, density, length in a certain way. So again, there's three different ways. Let's think about this in a very extreme sense so it makes sense. If I take a piece of hair right here at the front hairline and I cut it to a certain length, and in a very extreme form, I take the hair from the back of the head and I over direct it forward all the way around the head, and I meet with that front piece and I cut a straight line. This piece of hair in the front will fall to this length, and this piece of hair will fall to this length. So I'm sure you can deduce what over direction forward creates. Over direction forward creates length and density towards the back of the head, creates our weight movement towards the back of the head. So let's go the opposite way. What if I start in the back and I cut my shortest point here in the back? I over direct my front piece all the way around the head. I put those two together and I cut them at the same length here. This piece that was over directed falls much, much longer towards the front in relationship to that piece in the back. So again, that over direction back creates movement, weight, density towards the front of the head. Now, the big question is, what if I don't want to create movement in either direction? What if I just want the movement to sit to the head shape and not fall back or fall forward? What do? Well, you cut with no over direction. You cut the hair at natural fall. So you can still elevate it, which is an up and down movement, but if you don't want movement forward or back, you just make sure that you don't move the hair forward or back. You cut it at its natural fall point. Make sense? All right, you're getting it. So there's also 3 points or 3 ways you can over direct the hair. There's the stationary guide method, which is basically what we talked about just now, which is you put a stationary point and everything within your area that you're cutting is over directed to that stationary point. This guide doesn't move, it stays in one spot. That's going to give you the maximum amount of over direction within your shapes. The second way is you over direct to a previously cut section. So that means you're going to have a traveling guide. With each section you cut, your new piece of hair that you just barely cut then becomes your new guide for your next piece of hair. So that guide actually travels with every single section that you take. That's going to give you a much softer buildup of weight. The third is actually to a visual plane, because sometimes there's not a reference point on the head necessarily. Let's say you want to create a really flat plane across the back of the head. There's not a point on the head you can necessarily over direct to create a really flat plane back here. So what you do is you create a visual plane. And let's say I do want to create that flat plane. I'll put my body back there at that flat plane, create visually where I want to over direct the hair to, and then everything gets moved to that plane. So I'm creating that flat line back here, but it's all visual. So those are the 3 main ways that you can over direct. So again, you can over direct forward, you can over direct back, you can not over direct at all, you can cut to a previously cut section, you can cut to a stationary guide, or to a visual plane. So We really hope that that helped you understand that really important aspect of over-direction and how to control your shapes better so that you can get the weight to fall in the direction that you want. So next video that we'll be throwing at you is all about finger angle, and that's going to complete the cycle so you really understand those differences between elevation, over-direction, and finger angle. If this brought up some aha moments, if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to use that little box underneath the video screen to leave us a message, and we very much thank you for all your feedback. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Carruthers.